QB chasing.
Do it. Good morning, listeners. Welcome back to another very special episode of the Matter Mentality podcast, where we talk all things training, nutrition, and psychology to optimize your performance. Today, I am joined back for a very long overdue second appearance, the queen of men's health, the CEO and founder and president of Silverback and fucking the men's health space, Miss Ali Gilbert. How are we doing today, my friend?
Hello. Thank you for having me back. It's such an honor. Seriously, we were so long overdue. When was the last one? Like 2 years ago?
I know. That's what I was like. I was taking notes last night. I'm like, I need this bitch to see that I have changed my game and I've upped my game since she was here last because she's been dogging me for 2 straight years to come back for another episode. It's fine. I get it. I'm like, Aram's giving me three, but you've only given me one. So, whatever. Is what it is.
Listen, it's 4 p.m. here. That's about an hour before I start like making no sense.
we've got a pack of Zins ready and about four C4 cans, so I'm sure we're sweet.
Oh yeah, I got the
Oh, yeah,
Zin.
yes, you do.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Oh, that is fantastic. Oh man, I'm so glad to have you on. It sucks. It's been like, it feels like a year, but also like 5 years since we saw you in 24.
I know, like literally, we were just talking about this. Like next week would be 1 year, and I'm like, cool. That feels like 10.
Yeah,
Too long.
it
You
is.
live too
It's the hard
far.
part.
Your country is just too far. You need to come where we have high-speed Wi-Fi.
Did you see Luke's story the other night? He's like in Europe, what is this speed of internet? In Australia, ours is like a quarter of that. He's like, the upload is my download speed.
It's mind-blowing. Like when I used to do Zoom calls with him all the time, I'd be like, "You are frozen again."
That's pretty much how it goes most of the time I try to speak to people. I'm like, no, it's your internet. No, it's definitely ours.
No, definitely yours.
But, my dear, don't know how long we got. Don't know how long we're going to get you for before you start to spaz out. So, we are going to get straight into it. Now, it has been 2 years since you've been on. In that time, I have seen you absolutely dominate and own not only the men's health space, but I see you guys shifting towards the men's health performance and C-suite space. That has become obviously a lot more of your niche, your domain. I think the market that you're really trying to go after.
Yeah.
What are you seeing change in this space over the last year, 2 years? When you're moving into it, what are you going after? What are you seeing as becoming the thing that you want to solve? What is what is about that niche that you're like, these are our guys?
So, for context, for those who don't know me, and if you don't know me, then what the fuck? But
Pull your finger out of your ass, really.
where I grew up here in the States, Greenwich, Connecticut, is a very, very wealthy town. It's the first town outside New York City. And I always preface it with I did not grow up rich with butlers and maids and all that. But because it's the first town outside New York City, a lot of the finance guys who worked in New York lived there because they had McMansions and it was the country and all that stuff. So I came from a world of working with these guys since I was a little girl in the commercial gym space. So that's all I knew was these type A demanding guys who really just had these high expectations and wanted to get shit done and wanted it done fast. And that was the speed that I worked at. So I kind of know how they operate, what they need to be successful. So that has kind of carried into my online coaching. So I set up Silverback coaching to be built for those people, which requires a certain level of attention and you have to adapt to them, not the other way around. And you and
Mm-hmm.
I both know that most fitness programs or coaching programs, because we don't even call it a fitness program because we hit like everything. Most
Hmm.
programs are set up for somebody who just wants workouts and macros and
Hmm.
they're good. That does not work for these guys. They are on jets every week. They're changing their schedule all the time. Like they're closing deals. They're up late. They're dealing with international clients. Like there's so much going on that they can't wait for your once a week check-in to make changes. They need to make changes like when the schedule shifts that night and you have to be available for them. So
Hmm.
having come from that world, knowing how they operate, having 25 years, because I'm old, experience, it's just easy to be able to design something for them that will adapt to their life, not the other way around.
And do you set the expectation of that for your team as well? Like you guys are growing, you've got a really solid team, years of experience now, and obviously when you bring someone on, you're like, hey, this is what we deliver. This is what is going to be expected of you. I know it's not just the CEOs that you work with, but I guess if you're allocating a client to one of the boys, you're saying, hey, this is who you're getting, this is how they expect to work, and this is what you're going to have to do. Like that becomes your mold that you expect out of the team.
Yes. So I have three coaches now. They're phenomenal. We are all in our 40s or older. So it's not like I always say on application calls, I'm like, you're not getting a 22-year-old who went to YouTube University. So that's always
Thank
their fear.
God.
So it's experienced guys, and I am very good at reading people. So I'm very good at pairing them with the right person because it's based off personality,
Mhm.
need, goals, all of that stuff. So you have to make it a good match. These guys do everything I ask of them. Like they're phenomenal. And we have very high standards of communication, delivery, all that stuff. So I also ask that of the client because I say, hey, if you go MIA or you don't communicate with us, that's a problem. And I need you to hold yourself to those standards as well as us, because if you don't, we will fire you.
And that's
So
something
they're like, oh, fuck.
I guarantee that's something that those types of guys have never heard.
No, they're used to being yes to death. So I have no problems talking to them in a way that they probably don't expect. But like, it's also they understand what they know. They also know what they don't know.
Yep.
They know what they want, but they might not know what they need.
Yep.
So we have a knack for knowing what they need, even when they don't know what they need, because a lot of the excuses come in the form of, I travel a lot, I'm on the road, I can't this, I can't that. I'm like, no problem. Nothing that we can't solve. We have solutions to everything. We have clients who fly 4 to 5 times a week. And if you think that's a lot, then we can handle that. Like, there's no reason we can't have your calendar shared with us. We know where you're going to be. We can set you up with food delivery. We know where you're going to order your food from, where you're going to eat. We look at the menu, the hotel gym. Like, we make sure that there's no chance of you
Hmm.
failing where you go, because it's not like wired in these guys' brains where if they go to a business meeting and they're like, yeah, this conference just had like sandwiches or whatever food. I'm like, so what's stopping you from ordering your own Uber Eats? And they just
Hmm.
don't think of those things. So I'm like, that's what I do at conferences where I'm like, this food sucks. I'm just going to order my own. It's so accessible right now that it's like it's a no-brainer. Like, what are the consequences? People look at you weird because you're eating your own thing. Okay, look at them. Do they look like you? No. So answer. It's done.
It's funny how that's still a reflection or a consideration that we have in 2025 for like even the C-suite guys, right? Like the high tier executives and the executors is, oh, but I'm concerned with looking strange to these people. I'm concerned with what they might think about my lifestyle. It's like, well, does that person look like what you want to look like? Does that person live the life you want to live? Do they have the six pack and the seven figures? No, then who gives a fuck? Who cares what they
Yeah.
have to say or think? You're getting up on a stage or closing a deal or making a sale that's worth millions of dollars. You should probably look like the guy who's going to make the sale that's worth millions of dollars, not the guy who's going to go spend that millions of dollars on Dunkin' Donuts and Pizza Hut.
Yeah. You know, it's an easy solution. And like the thing is too, a lot of these guys struggle with alcohol. And
Mm.
we're not going to tell you like you cannot drink at all, like that's out of the question, unless they're stepping on stage, which none of them are. They don't want to. That's not their thing. So you really can't tell somebody who's going into a meeting where they're closing a deal and tell them, hey, when they break out the five-figure bottle of wine, you have to say no. Like that's
Yeah.
just rude. And they're going to be like, fuck off. I'm not working with you guys. So there's ways to navigate that, and you can educate them
Hmm.
to understand what they need to do nutritionally and make it the least worst choice of
Hmm.
those, right? So we work with them on that. Like we had a guy the other day who was closing a $6 billion deal, billion. And I'm like, I want to say that one day. But I was like, he was so fucking stressed out because he had all this other shit going on in his life. And I was like, dude, just don't face plant into the donuts. What else do we have to work on? He's like, I just want to push the sled until I can't see anything anymore. And we're like, go do it. If
Hmm.
that will keep you from going and drinking your face off or, eating a bunch of shit, I have no problem. Like, whereas how many coaches, be like, no, that'll fuck up my program and blah, 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 blah. Like, nah, we don't
I
care.
need to consider the fatigue of that exercise.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but we have $6 billion on the table here. Like, I'm not going to mess with that and be
Yeah.
like, no, dial in your macros today. Like, that's not how this works. So you have to be willing to not be so militant and rigid in your
Hmm.
approach to coaching these guys. We have guys that don't track food. Like they just don't. They're not
Hmm.
willing to. Like they are that busy. And we have guys who are really fucking busy and they figure it out. Some guys, it's just it's a non-negotiable. Okay, we figure out another strategy. Send us photos of everything you eat. Just
Hmm.
every single time, just snap a photo, send it to us, which is literally the same amount of work that it takes to put it in chronometer, but whatever. Like, not going to argue, whatever works. And then if they come to a point where they're like, I thought I would lose fat faster or look different by this time, then we revisit, okay, what else can we do and can we
Hmm.
control? Can we do this for 2 weeks? Can we do this for 3 weeks? Like if you give them structure and a deadline and execute like for this time frame, then they'll get it done. But it's not something that you can expect forever into
Yeah.
infinity. Like we need to weigh your food, track it. Like they're on the road, they're not going to bring a scale. I tell them, don't you dare bring a food scale to a restaurant. Like don't do any of that bullshit. Like no. So it's just adapting it the right way because yes, they want to look the part, but also they have to be able to have the flexibility of the lifestyle that comes along with it. And it also depends where they are, right? So if you're in New York City, the New York City business lifestyle is around alcohol. You
Yes.
got to be able to navigate that. And it's just, it comes with the territory versus somebody in, like, we have guys in Australia, we have guys in Dubai. Like, it's just a different lifestyle. It's a little bit
Yeah.
more active in Dubai. Like, alcohol's not a thing in Dubai as much as it is elsewhere. But, it's understanding the culture. You have to understand your client. You have to understand where they're coming from, what their barriers are, and the fact that like they've got 3 kids, they've got 15 practices during the week, they've got tournaments every weekend. Like, how do you set them up for success? We're not going to say, hey, bring 12 Tupperware meals to the lacrosse games. No,
And that was kind
no.
of going to lead that was going to lead to my next point too, which is like realistically, it's just understanding how, especially at that level, those guys operate on deadlines, punching in, punching out, timelines, execution, the conscientiousness of their structure. If you don't have a system that fits that, they're just not going to work with you because that's the type of person that they are. So unless you're giving them the same structure back and saying, hey, this 2 week block, I've got some clients that they might only be able to give me 2 to 3 weeks at a time of chunks of work. And then it's like, all right, maintenance phase, 2 to 3 weeks, maintenance phase. And it's like you said, at a certain point, yes, there is a position where if the feedback comes in, hey, I'm not losing fat or weight as fast as I wanted to, cool, let's go look back at the decisions. Did every one of these meetings have to be a meal or takeaway or fast food or alcohol? Could we have done something slightly different? because that all accumulates to you not losing fat. The more, the more frequently you are untracking your food or unaccountable to your food or eating the extra meals, eventually that's going to catch up or slow things down. So, let's have a look at it. But you know who you're working with. I've got 2 to 3 weeks to go hard. Cool, let's do that. Go ham here, pull up the brakes for a couple of weeks, go ham, pull brakes for a couple of weeks. You have to be able to understand that client that you're working with. And I think it's a huge part that a lot of people don't understand in coaching space is being able to differentiate and understand the personality traits of your clients, understanding who they are as a person, how they function.
Yeah, because some guys they don't need the social banter in our chat. So I'm in a group chat with every client and every coach. Some of them, they just thank you for joining me today. You are literally the best.
Thank you. I try my best.
All right. I don't know why that started playing. So what was I saying?
You're in a group chat with all of your teams?
Oh, yeah. So I'm in a group chat with every coach and client. And some of them they just want to chat, talk shit, whatever. Others are like, this is what I got today. This is how the schedule changed. How do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then they're out. Done. They get their marching orders. So it's definitely it's a vast majority of our guys operate like that. And then I don't really coach anymore. I have 3 clients. And those guys are super concierge. I am calling mobile phlebotomists to schedule their blood draw and get them sorted and handled and all that stuff. And I play therapist, I play secretary, I play a lot of roles. I'm a counselor. I've talked guys off the ledge when they've gotten ridiculously stressed. So somehow people trust me to talk about these things. And
do you know
honestly,
it's me you're talking to here?
I know. You're the same way. It's and then I have I can vent to you because it's very easy to talk to you. We're just easy to talk to, but we're also vault. They trust me with the information, these things that I know I should not know, but I know them. They're not going to be
collapse my
repeated to anyone.
business.
Yes. Nobody will know because no one knows. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I want to move space here for a second because I am big in one of the approaches that I guess the philosophy I abide by is that I truly believe a lot of people, especially men, hold a greater degree of potential than what they perceive they actually have or want to go after, right? You work with mostly these high ticket guys. You work in the masculinity space of guys that execute, get after it. They do their thing. What are the differences you are seeing? Because you also work when you host Silverback, you bring these, I guess, up and coming guys, you bring these guys who want to self-develop to one place and be around these great minds that try and help that. What are you seeing in the differences of mindset, health, execution, operation between that average guy that isn't getting a result, isn't getting ahead, not just in their physique, but in life and business and sales and in work, and the guys that you're working with at these top levels? There's obviously a degree of masculinity in that. There's a degree of testosterone in that, in hormone optimization. But what are those key differences you're seeing where it's something we can hone in on and say, you guys aren't doing this. This is missing from your life. What are those things you're seeing between the two?
I think because when they get to us, it's usually they're piecemealing everything together and trying to make it work. So they downloaded some random PDF workout, or they're still doing their football workouts from college or the CrossFit workouts, and that does not align with their schedule. They don't trust themselves or really understand what it means to invest in coaching because they do see it more as a weakness in a way. They don't see the power behind it. And I'm actually, a high level business owner, you outsource everything else in your business. But this is all of a sudden weird or expensive, or it just doesn't make sense to them. And I'm think about it this way. What do you delegate in your business? What tasks? What are the KPIs? What's the ROI on having someone else handle this side of the business for you? Cool. Now, take your health. You don't have to manage conflicting opinions between your physician and then your fitness team and all of that. Done. You don't have to think about what am I going to eat on this trip. You actually don't think about what you're going to eat on that trip till you make that trip, which is poor planning. How do I get these workouts in? What am I doing? Like if I'm traveling for this long or going on vacation, like they don't think of these things because it requires energy, it requires management. It just is a burden. It's an extra stressor. So take all that thinking, bring everything together and integrate it. And that's kind of what we do. Like we handle the blood work, we handle the medical side, we handle the fitness, the nutrition, the lifestyle, the jet lag, the trout, whatever it is, we handle that for you so that you don't have to. Because a big part of it too, and I actually had this discussion with a client this morning, is he has a very high level dental practice and he feels he's at the point in his business where he needs to bring on another partner because he's just swamped with patients. And he's like, well, I'm missing a couple workouts a week. I know I am. I'm trying to cram two during the weekend, but then I miss family time and all of this stuff. And I'm like, well, why don't we just reduce the time of your workouts? And he was like, well, if I don't spend at least 75 minutes in the gym, I feel like it's not worth it. And I was like, okay, the workouts I set up for you should not take that long. What are we doing? And he's like, well, I'm answering texts. I'm like, okay. How about if you can't leave the phone alone, which a lot of them can't, we do 30-minute workouts and we execute at a high level. You put your phone on do not disturb for 30 minutes. Is that possible? He's like, yes. I said, great. I said, you have to understand where you're at. You're not in college. You're not doing college workouts anymore. Your schedule, your lifestyle, and everything is not set up to have leisure time training. If you have 30 minutes to get it done, that is the lifestyle that we are living right now. So we adapt it to make it fit. And that's okay. Because 30 minutes is better than no minutes. And right now you're looking at no minutes on some days. And he was like, I never thought of it that way. And I was like, duh. So I'm like, if we get 30 minutes 4 days a week, is that better than missing 2 hours a week? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, thank you. So it's just getting them to shift the mindset that you can go out of the box and do things that maybe weren't what you're used to doing or what you want to do, but it's what you're capable of right now.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
the guy
so.
Get that? That's where it works.
I think that's so funny that even at that level, it's the same problem because the guys at the level that I work with when we start, you get the, I don't want to say arrogant or egotistical, you get the confident guys that are like, I can do 5 sessions a week and I can do this and I can do this and we're going to operate like this. I'm like, cool. Have you been doing that currently? Well, no, I'm only getting like, maybe I'm missing like my 5-day program, getting maybe 3 days. I'm like, okay, so instead of wishful thinking, let's look at actual execution in the last 6 months. What's your available workout schedule look like? Oh, on a bad week, probably twice. I'm like, okay, well then let's operate from a bad week because you don't actually have a good week. And then it's suddenly, oh, but I can't do anything in 2 weeks, in 2 sessions. I'm like, you're currently not doing anything at all. So if I have to get you 2 to 3 sessions and we go hard as fuck, then that's better than I can program 2 to 3 days a week. It's not even a question. You don't have to worry. That's why you're outsourcing. You don't have to worry about whether or not we can get 3 good sessions in. What you have to worry about is lying to yourself about a program that doesn't exist and the way you'll execute a program that doesn't exist. But it's funny that even at the level of the person I work with who's coming into fitness, who's like coming to coaching for the first time, not these C-suite guys that are high-level executors, you're getting similar problems. You're getting similar beliefs and mindsets about training, health, optimization, performance. It's like, well, if I can't do 2 hours, it doesn't count. If I can't do a 5-day bro split, then it doesn't count as a workout. I can't get after it. It's like, cool, man, this isn't high school anymore. You're an adult with a job and a family and friends and a wedding and relationships and life coming up and that sort of shit. Let's make that fit. You make it fit your schedule, not try and mold your schedule to a program that doesn't exist.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that they end up looking much better and feeling much better doing less because they can actually function at a high level too.
Now,
so
you touched on something, and I think it's really important to explore. You mentioned even at that level, for guys, it's hard to ask for help, to kind of reach out and say, hey, I need this taken care of. That
Yeah.
I see as something that exists at every level and layer of manlyhood, of masculinity. We don't like to reach out. We don't like to ask for help. It doesn't matter whether you're the most soy boy feminine male of all time or whether you are the most jacked, rugged, I'm a lumberjack by day and business owner by night and also Batman. It doesn't matter. I have noticed that across those spaces, men asking for help. Well, obviously there are men that ask for help, but men that ask for help and then act on that help is a very hard thing to do. Where do you see, or what do you think is the cause of that? I know the roles that testosterone plays in forward thinking and forward action, dopamine driving. We understand the systems neurologically, but what do you see is the cause of those men struggling to ask for help? Because this goes across coaching, it goes to mental health, it goes to suicidation, it goes to, performance anxieties, it goes to relationship problems. We just don't like to outsource help, but it's also holding us back.
Oh, yeah. I think men are problem solvers, solution providers by nature. So for them to not have the answer or not have the solution, they see that as a weakness because they've been conditioned that it is a weakness if they can't solve something, if they can't provide something. And we all know like the communication issues with any romantic relationship. If me as a woman, if I'm venting or complaining, I usually have to preface that with, I just need to vent. I don't need a solution. Because you guys are
In Brooklyn.
wired to like solve it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, calm the fuck down. Just let me talk. So you guys just want to help. And we love that about you. But when it comes to yourselves, you put everybody else first. You take care of the family, you take care, if you have kids, dogs, whatever, the business. And then all of a sudden, like you're building the business, you're building the family, you're building the wealth, and then you forgot about you. And now you don't recognize who you look at in the mirror. And you've lost your edge, your energy, everything that you were about. And it's a little emasculating, I guess, but like demoralizing and just embarrassing because they're like, shit, I've let myself go. How? I know my way around the gym. I know what to do. And that's where I tell them, I know what to do too. I've had a coach for 8 years, and they're like, why? I'm like, because he ain't getting rid of me ever. Sorry, Luke.
Suck
I
shit,
was
Luke.
like, yeah, my time is better used not worrying about my own program and health and all that because for me, like I do all the marketing in our business. I do a lot of the application calls. Like, I mean, I run the business. I don't have time to be like, okay, I have a photo shoot in 6 weeks. So how am I going to like plan this out? Blah, blah, blah. I let someone else handle that.
Mm.
So it goes back to the delegation. Like, why do you delegate everywhere in your business? Your entire business is optimized with the system that works and produces and gets results. Why don't you have that with your health? Why do you refuse to confront that? So you have to kind of reframe it for them. And it's like, it's no different than just hiring an expert. Like if you own a Ferrari and you know how to work on basics, like you can change oil, but are you really going to change your Ferrari's oil or are you going to bring it to a professional? Like,
I ain't touching that shit.
yeah, yeah. Because like you fuck something up, then it's like $10,000 to replace. So, it's just how they're conditioned. And then until they realize that it's actually a very power move to hire somebody and outsource that,
Mhm.
then it's difficult. I don't want to convince anybody of that. Like I'm like, listen, if we have to convince you, we are not for you.
Mhm.
Like, you know, if you're not ready to take this next step, we're not for you. I am not here to babysit or convince you. Like, if you are a killer and you want to get this done and you've got like the mindset and we can help shift that farther for you, but we plan it out for you and we are there with you every step of the way, welcome aboard. If I have to stand here and convince you of why you need this, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have time. Sorry.
I'm curious then, because that leads to another question I kind of had around purpose and direction is the men that do get after it, and the ones that sign up and they're fully encompassing the entire system and philosophy of you guys, or even if let's say they don't sign up to you, but they've gone to work with a coach at a high ticket price and they've locked in and got that result that you know they're going to execute. Are you seeing that person have a specific mission or value or purpose as to why they're doing it? Is it just simply, I want to be at the meetings looking jacked? Or is it more, one of the examples, just to give you a kind of a preface, is when I work with fathers and I work with uncles, role models, leaders in their business, whatever it might be, one of the things that I give them to reshift and reframe, perhaps, hey, yes, you've got kids, but you don't have to fucking eat their snacks. You're not 12. Put the food down. I will hit them with a very emotion grabbing example that I want them to hold on to. And that is, if the person that you are leading or role modeling right now, looking up to you, grew up to be exactly like you are right now, would you be proud or would you be disappointed and upset? If that is the answer that you don't want to hear, then we need to do something about that. If you're proud, you don't even probably need me. That's great. If you're looking at that and going, I would be mortified, then that's the thing we need to change. And that is something that we need to confront. Do you see that when it's a bigger thing than themselves, that these men, these higher ticket men, these higher, higher level men they're more shifted around that greater than self goal? Or is it purely, I just want to look jacked at the conference?
Looking jacked is the last thing, really. It's more, they want to be the model. And I don't put it the same way you did. That's actually brilliant. I'm going to use that. But I asked them, like, do you want, like, is the version of you now the one you want your child to look up to? So when he goes to school or when he's older or she or whatever, yeah, my dad is awesome. He does all these things with me. He does this. Or yeah, my dad sits on the couch and drinks beer every night because you know how blunt kids are. They're going to talk about what you do. So like they fill it out in school. Like my dad, draw a picture or whatever. My mom, draw a picture, like blank canvas right there. What do you want to be in there? Like, do you want to be the dad that can't keep up with the kids and you're like out of breath and all of that? Like, I went really, really savagely on a lot of posts, but I was talking about uh, I was talking about this specifically, and I said, like, if you're wheezing when you're putting on your socks, and a guy messaged me and he's like, that is me. I need you guys. And I was like, yeah, you do. And he was like, my pants don't fit. I look sloppy. Like, this is what I just say in posts because I know they think this shit and people think this. They want to say it. And somehow my toxic trait is just to tell the truth. I don't know. But it resonates because they're like, yeah, this is what I say to myself and this is like embarrassing. So they don't want to be that for their kids. Like they look at photos and they're like, oh my God, who is that? So they want their kid to follow them in the gym. They want their kid to want to go to the gym and be active and learn what that's like to be strong. So that's what they want emulated.
I
And you got to paint that picture to them.
One of my proudest, I would say one of my proudest moments or reflections. It's my best mate of 18 years. He started taking care of himself for the first time. Like we've known each other forever, and I never push. I put a post up the other night. It's like in society, it's acceptable to tell fit people to stop eating and have a brownie and have a wine, or like just have one. It's fine. If I start telling you to put down the Snickers, all of a sudden I'm an asshole. But you're the one that's got a blood glucose of 17. Like it's somehow I'm the bad guy. So I never push it on people. I just sort of live an example lifestyle. I believe like I lead by doing, as opposed to like you have to do this. And one of the proudest things to me was that he sent me a photo one morning. He's like, I'm getting after him. I'm doing runs. I'm waking up at this time, and got some home gym equipment and he's just been getting after it. And he sends me a photo of both of my godsons, 6 years old, 4 years old, in the garage shed with him working out. They've got like the 70s sweat bandanas on and like the high vis gear because he's a tradie. And he's like, they're just in there watching. I'm like, this is kids. This is what dads need to understand. Men need to understand is that if you have kids, you have people that you lead, you have people that follow you. If you're a leader of someone or some people, you are the example by action, whether you want to be or not. Yes, your words speak, and you can set the SOPs and you can set the procedures and you can set the templates, but at the crux of it, people will watch and they will see what you are doing and they will see how you operate. They'll see how you execute. And to have my god kids in there with him, he's now corrected a path that they're on to go, this is who they're going to look up to now. This is going to be, hey, dad has work at 6. He's also up at 4 in the gym training before he has to drive an hour to work. And they'll see that every day for the next however long. And then when they get old enough, they're going to say, oh, he sent me a video and it was at a holiday, an island here in the tropics of North Queensland. And they're on a golf buggy. And my godson jumps off the buggy and starts doing push-ups and sit-ups. And my mate's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, if I'm going to be the best, I've got to train everywhere. I was like, I love this kid. Like, how do I get him his first round of creatine? Let's go. I'm coaching him for free for life. Let's start now.
Yeah, it's you would think that that would be like the most driving force. And it's funny because you asked me like what the difference is between guys who get that and guys that don't. And the other day, don't remember what day it is, but I have a client who lives here in Florida, and he's actually a very close friend. And one of his employees was basically leaving for his lunch hour a little too long, and he could smell alcohol on him, when he comes back. And, he grew up with this guy, he knows his history of being addicted and everything. So he was like, will you come talk to him? I'm like, yeah. Met this guy one time, so I don't really know him. And I sat him down and I just asked him about his history and then what his purpose in life is and what motivates him. He's got a 2.5-year-old and he worries about financial stability, and he's drinking at least a 6-pack of like these vodka drinks every day.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
I was like, let me ask you a question. Any other company that you work for, you'd be gone. Like, I know for a fact you're drinking more than you're telling me. I know the human body very well. I can tell what substances, and that's a liability for any company. So the fact that you're still here speaks volumes of who your boss is because you guys are close friends. So basically, I hit every single pain point in his life to where I was like, let's paint the picture of what your ideal purpose is in life, how we can get there, what that involves. But you have to stop today drinking. And you have to make that decision because do you want your 2.5-year-old son to grow up saying, my father is an alcoholic and lost his job and went through 500 different jobs and pretty much is a loser? He's like, no, no. And this was like very deep conversation. I start with empathy and then I go a little savage. I was like, so when are you going to decide that you're going to step up as a man and actually take action to provide for the family, give your son a future, have a stable income, not lose your job, and clean your act up? And he's like, well, I want to. And he kept saying, I want to. And I said, no, no, no. It's a yes or no question as to whether you're going to do that. And he was like, I want to. And I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to make the decision today. You will sit down with him. You will design a way for you to make more money in this company and roles that fulfill you, that make you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose so that you can make more money and be happy and feel fulfilled. Or you can leave today. and you're out of a job. But you have to stop drinking if you're going to design the rest of your life. And he said, no. And I said, I'm firing him for you. I'm like, you're done. And I was like sad because I was like, I have never, ever seen somebody that low that they literally your son, and you're talking about wanting more kids. So I was like, if that doesn't move a man, there's obviously like deeper seated things and it's a longer
Hmm.
conversation, but that's not who I'm used to dealing with. And I was more pissed that I couldn't help him because
Mm.
you and I, the way we talk to people, we usually light a fire under people's ass. And I was like,
Hmm.
fuck. I was stumped. And I was just like, man, some people really do need to hit rock bottom before they
Hmm.
can make their comeback. And I hope to God that he's able to do that. But for the majority, for the guys that we deal with, because they've built so much wealth, now they're aware they could lose that any minute because if they go down because of their health, they're a burden on everybody. So it really does kind of light something up in them, especially if they have that family history or they don't want to be like their father or their brother or whomever. But when you have the responsibility on your shoulders as a man, as the protector, as the provider, as the leader, and you're ignoring all health markers that your body is just telling you, like, dude, stop, that's a problem. Because your biggest asset is going to be you. And when that ship goes down, what happens? So
Even
that
at
was
my level,
hard,
when
but
you no, that like, and it's such an important reflection. 'Cause I know everyone sort of, you know, follows yourself and likes the talks on, is it just more testosterone? Can I take some Winstrol? You know, is Masteron going to fix this? And when do I start the trend? And you know, those sort of like, that's how everyone thinks the answer is going to be when it comes to these sorts of conversations. How do I be a better man? But
wow.
for that conversation alone, it's one of the key points that I think exists in manhood, which is you have to be able to find, pick up, and carry the most important and largest responsibility that you can find.
Mhm.
Deliberately and selectively choose that I'm going to carry this burden and work towards a greater life by carrying this. There's that, if you can't find a purpose, then the easiest purpose is, what's the biggest responsibility I can carry right now, and fix it or work on it or move it forward. And by the sounds of it, the guys that you see succeeding are the ones that recognize that and say, I, whether it's their business, their family, their relationships, but at the end of the day, their body is probably one of the biggest responsibilities they have to carry. Because if that vehicle, which is all the body is, breaks down, the business stops, their relationship dwindles, time with their family goes down, the ability to show up as a man goes down, the things that they care about become basically mobile. So it, in and of itself, the act of taking on the challenge of working on your body becomes the responsibility they carry to then have a reason to keep going.
1,000%. And you've heard me talk about this too, where I relate it back to success and money because that's what resonates with men. And I said, have you ever walked into a room with somebody that you're in a meeting with or closing a deal with, and they work out? You can tell.
Mm.
You notice, like, there's this trust that is built without saying a word because they look dedicated, they look disciplined, they have work ethic. Whereas somebody who is very sloppy, their stomach's hanging over their belt, they're sweating, they're like red in the face, that person is not going to come across as trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but anybody who says they don't judge people, you get judged the minute you walk in a room.
100%.
And you have the capability to make a choice as to whether you want those judgments to lean towards something positive or towards like, oh shit, this guy can't even take care of himself and I'm going to trust him with my investments. Like,
Mm.
that's how it works in this world. And it says nothing about having a six pack. Like having a six pack's great. That's not all guys' goal. However, if you do have visible abs, it says more about the control and the discipline and who you are as a person because that guy has his shit together. Like you look at someone who works all these hours in finance. He probably gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which means that he's not drinking his face off at night, which means that
Mm-hmm.
he actually has the ability to abstain from certain activities that are going to get him like in trouble. He has the work ethic to be dedicated to be able to address his health and all of that stuff and do that with kids, dogs, family, like all that stuff. So I've seen the people with the absolute worst fucking schedules. Again, flying 4 to 5 days a week sucks unless you're doing it privately, but you're dealing with cancellations, delays, airport shit. Like, if they can get it done and we can get them to get it done, so can you. There is no excuse. There's only solutions, and we can provide that, but you have to be willing to accept that because the guys who think, I have this. Okay, great. What else you got for me? Because I can fix all of that. So,
Where's the problem start? Where's the struggle?
yeah, like, oh, and I don't know, maybe it's because like I grew up around these guys that I'm like used to their intensity and just the way that they operate. But like, okay, like there's a solution for everybody, you know? It may not be what you want. It may be uncomfortable. It may be a little inconvenient, but guess what? Suck it up because it's not going to be comfortable. What you do that's worth doing is not comfortable. Nothing grows in a
Mm.
comfortable space. So,
And that leads to probably my final big question, which is a question I kind of proposed on your post yesterday, which was joking about this similar context. I said something along the lines or the degree of why is it that we can see there are men that can make millions, if not billions of dollars, but they can't see their penis by the time they're 40 because their gut hangs over it. And it's
yeah.
getting in the way of just being able to function, like you said, or to the degree of bending over and touch your toes. And because to me, and I would be very inclined to think you agree along the same lines, that the traits required to build wealth are basically identical to the traits required to be healthy. Now, obviously, I'm a competitive bodybuilder. The traits required to get to 3%, 4% body fat is very extreme end of that. And honestly, when you're making seven-figure decisions, I would implore you probably not to be that level of body fat because it's going to hinder your ability to function and think. So we don't need to go that far, but being 10, 8, 12% body fat in that sort of like what I call the performance range, the traits required are identical, if not very, very similar, right? So why do we have these guys that can see their dick, that can go home after a very successful deal and sleep with their wife and not be passed out after 3 seconds? Why do we see these guys that can make millions and millions of dollars, but they can't, put their pants on or pull their pants over their waist, over their stomach? They've got to tuck their stomach into their waistline. The traits are identical. What is it that they're lacking that they can't commit? They don't have a greater purpose. They lack the drive, or to a degree, the testosterone to be at that level. They aren't willing to sacrifice the comfort of drinking and food. Like, what is it that you see where you go, oh yeah, he's just not going to get it done? He makes the money, but he's not going to be that guy.
All the above. And there's a reason why people who are entrepreneurs were athletes or are athletes
Mm-hmm.
because there are those same traits. And I think, they don't see the work life balance as work life integration. So they see like either work and then be able to work out, but not both. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a way to do that. We've discussed this. What I've seen happen is they read too many podcasts. They consume so much information. They don't need more information. Like, we are done with information because we're trying to now cold plunge and fucking biohack and green juice and whatever the hell they want to take instead of actually doing the thing. And that also comes with the low carb world. Like, they all came from the same place. Like, the low carb keto paleo people are also like the biggest biohack nerds. So, not to say that some of those supplements and medications are useful. Like, they can do a lot of things if you're doing all the other like really basic stuff. So they do have all, like, I wrote a post on this where like, they've got like the Viore outfit, they've got the fresh fade and the AirPods and the Bugatti, and they walk in the gym like, they're at some fucking wellness retreat or whatever. And then they're literally talking their way through sets on a leg press because they're talking through a deal or something. And I'm like, no, like if we put the intensity and energy that we put into researching all this bullshit and put that into like 20 minutes of a workout, even at bare minimum, a lot of stuff will change. So I always am taking away things where I know guys don't want to take 500 pills a day. Like they don't know. No one wants to do that. So I'm like, okay, all these supplements you're taking right now, we can leave those on the shelf. Like they can expire on the pantry, give them away. I don't care. We don't need it. It's not doing anything. You don't have to buy the most expensive tech. You can fucking track everything in your life. It does not matter. Data is great, but if you do something with it, not if you
Hmm.
just read it like, oh, I slept like shit. I shouldn't train today. Go train. Like you slept like shit one day. If you're sleeping 3 hours a
My aura
day,
score is off.
like I told a story when I was shooting with Ryan McGinn last week. I was telling a story of this guy I used to train.
Nice name drop, everyone.
So, yep. I was telling this story that this guy, like I trained him when I was working in a gym. This is like 8 years ago. And he used to take the red eye from wherever country he was working in straight to a 6 a.m. session in the gym. And he would often get to the gym and then I would be like waiting for him on the gym floor at 6:10. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? And he would emerge from the locker room like 20 minutes later because he fell asleep. So I'm like, just go home. I'm going to charge you still, but just go home. You will learn your lesson. Don't book these sessions right off a fucking plane. Well, I can sleep when I'm dead. I'm like, well, that's going to happen a lot sooner than you think it
Mm.
is if you keep this up, you know? Because they think, well, the more I do, the more I do, the more I do. And I'm like, bro, it's actually the less that you do better versus the more that you do just to do. So that was like a tangent, but it just makes me laugh because it's like these things that these guys do, you know,
You
I
know,
don't
one of
know.
my
A lot
favorite thing
a lot
about
of them like they live weird lives and most of them when they're in their 50s or 60s, they say they're retired, but they're never retired. They still work. They go to the gym at 10 or 11 a.m. They still follow all the trades and all that stuff, but they're the ones who are also like consuming all this information that's conflicting, and then they get confused and they end up on the low carb train forever and ever, and they wonder why they feel like shit. They can't operate, they can't hit the golf ball as hard as they used to. And I'm like, dude, you're on the recumbent bike reading, your iPad. Like we're not where are we going?
one of my
Anyway,
favorite things about the gym is that it's one of the great equalizers. It doesn't matter what executive branch you work in, doesn't matter what C-suite you're on, it doesn't matter what level you're at, doesn't matter what your income is. We all have generally the same physiological responses to input versus output, to stimulus, to intensity, to effort. Whether it's time that's the differentiator, it doesn't really matter. I've got clients that can do half an hour. I've got clients who can do 2 hours. I schedule about 90 minutes to my day. But when you walk in there and like it doesn't matter how much gear you have, how many things you buy, how many cool tech items or optimizers or brand new kicks, it's just one of those things where I know if you get after it in the gym or not. You
mhm.
just know. And it's very obvious. And when you've been in the gym long enough, yeah, okay, this guy's just going to come in and yeah, he's got the kit, but he hasn't got the execution. And it's such a humbling equalizer because no, it doesn't matter once you walk in.
No, it doesn't. And I really enjoy working with these guys because I know that about them. Like at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, they have this same struggles. And I've worked with A-list celebrities who are former professional athletes. They bitch about the scale. They don't know what the hell is going on with their medical team. They're eating the wrong stuff. They're not eating enough protein. It's all the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
No one is special in my mind. I treat them all the same. Some of them are a pain in the ass, but I still love them. But I like that challenge. I always like the challenge of like that type
Yeah.
A personality. And it's also they feel more empowered and then they feel more confident. And when that bleeds into their business, I literally can say that all our guys who do the right stuff with us, who execute, they make more money. They tell
Mm-hmm.
us. And they're like, instead of saying like, yeah, look at my abs, like, yeah, they get abs, yeah, they get like, new veins and stuff, but they will take pictures of themselves just wearing their business clothes and be like, yo, I'm showing up for this meeting. Like, I feel way more confident walking into the boardroom now. And I'm like, that's what it's about. That's what we want. And
That's the fucking win.
that will lead to more ROI from what you put in the rest of your life to higher level of revenue, better deals, all that stuff.
Mate, we could talk on this stuff forever, but it's you and your brain goes frazzled at about 5 o'clock. So it is August. We have what I believe is the calendar event for Men's Health coming up.
Yeah.
What are we expecting? What can I want to preface this. It has been a great shame of ours to have known you this long and not be able to make one. We have been talking about it for so long because where the silverback falls in the calendar is right where my exam period is. And my university, whilst for the real world, is not for the real world of business owners who want to travel and educate. So, and upskill and learn. So it has been a great shame of ours to not have been over there yet. We've got the online version. We have watched it. It is always jam-packed of value. But to the average male who is trying to level up, who is going to these things, what are we expecting this year? There's going to be a standout. There's going to be a jump out that is going to change them. Because there's always something with you. There's always something. There's penis cakes and penis lollipops and testicle pops and I don't know, jam-packed C4 cans and bangs and whatever else are probably going to show up. I don't know. But what are we expecting this year that's going to be the life changer?
At the Silverback Summit. So that's my men's health event in November. So November 13th through 15th in Orlando, Florida. Basically is the only men's health event that exists. It really is. But I created it because I wish it existed when I got into men's health, but also because there's a huge gap between the medical world, the fitness world, and anybody who wants to understand both. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you want to really understand, like, this is how I level up in my business, this is how I actually become like a killer, and this is how I'm just a weapon of a human, you want to be in that room because I bring together my top TRT practitioners across the globe, fitness professionals, business coaches, entrepreneurs, like anybody who operates at a high level. And it's the hardest thing to articulate because you can't really sell an experience or a feeling. But when you're in that room, you might meet the person that is going to introduce you to whoever who's going to catapult your business into 7, 8 figures. So those are the relationships that are formed. That's the type of group that we have, the community that we have. So we literally have just TED Talk style talks all day long because no one wants to do death by PowerPoint anymore. And everyone hangs out. And it's a whole new crew of people that you meet. And this year I am doing dinner for everybody on Friday night so that we can all hang out and network because that's a really big part of it. Because happy hour socials are cool, but then everyone leaves to go eat dinner. And I'm like, well, what if we just bring dinner to the event? So I might have some surprises that I can't share right now at the event. But basically, if you're a coach, if you're a medical provider, if you're a high level dude and you want to know anything about that world and how to level yourself up, you're going to want to be in that room. So silverbacksummit.com.
There you go, guys. Go. Stop being a pussy. Stop being me on the other side of the world and go.
Exactly. Don't be like Ben.
That's the example we could all live by. Don't be like Ben. Stop being a bitch.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I got some rapid fire questions before we wrap up. If you could change one thing in men that would help them succeed in life, what would it be? And knowing you, it's got to be a rapid fire answer, not you rambling on a zim and a bang for 5 minutes.
If I could change one thing, it would probably be their self-limiting beliefs.
Ooh, I like that. That's quick. Look at you practiced. What shift in men's health culture are you most proud to see right now, being that you are a major part of it?
The acceptance as testosterone as a necessity versus a luxury or cheating.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying not to expand those because I know that we will, so I won't.
Yeah.
You posted recently, and I shared a very similar story to the idea around it being privileged to be exhausted working on a dream you once only imagined working on. How has Silverback grown from that original dream that you had, and did it go in the direction that you thought it would?
The summit,
You and Silverback in general.
um, I never wanted to do online coaching. How about we start with that? So it kind of grew itself, but I would say the minute that I detached from a coach and became a CEO roughly
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago was when I accepted that, was when things changed. And when it became a seven-figure business was really when I didn't feel like a fraud anymore because we have such a strong brand. I think people thought that I made like $1 zillion, which I was like, that's cute, I wish, but no. Um, I think that's when things really kind of catapulted. And the fact that the recognition of the summit as the go-to for men's health
Mm-hmm.
education um, really went in directions I did not realize it would. So,
I can say we can probably pinpoint the ironically around the time we first started interacting. I mean, when we first met, because I knew Luke before we met. I'd been to IOPC and that sort of thing, and then we had come up to the agreement of doing the coaches summit with Cav, and then you and me started following each other and we started talking. The differences in how you operated and the initial beliefs. I mean, us having some deep conversations, even when you first started doing that viral piss off people content with Ryan, and the way you've shifted to really owning that space, the difference in those 2 years. Ironically, I'm not saying it's because we met and there's a correlation there, but I'm saying that
because of you.
but it is
No,
true
it's
that
so
growth,
true.
that difference in that
Oh
in
my
who
God.
you are and how you operate over the last few years. I probably would say we could see it go back or around that time. I think has been a stark shift in how you were viewing yourself and Silverback, because I think you just done the first live one and you'd done the digital one before that, and now it's what it is only 3 years later.
Yeah, we're never satisfied. So I'm always like more and more and more like, but sitting back and realize like shit, we've actually come really far is pretty wild. And you're right. I remember I would let the trolls get to me so bad. I'd be like, Ben, these people are vicious. They're so mean to me. Is this true? And now I'm just like, fuck all of you. Like, yeah, I definitely I don't want to say I never care, but like I always use the analogies. Instead of feeling like I got sledgehammered with like vicious mean comments, it's just these little like mosquito bites, where I'm like,
Fuck
okay,
off.
you're
Fuck
miserable.
off.
It's okay. Like, go away, it's all right. So, because the people that resonate with what I say and do, they're gonna stay around. And our clients tell us like the fact that you are authentic and you just
Mm-hmm.
show up as you are and you have a mohawk, that is why I'm here. I'm like, great. I will never cut my hair any different.
Everything that I offer, because you have a mohawk, we signed up.
Done. Well, good, because this shit's expensive to maintain, believe it or not. So,
Last question. There is a book, a podcast, a video. What should men go read, do, consume right now instead of all the bullshit that we can consume and all of the podcasts and all of the things? What is the one that you say to men to go consume to make a difference now? Besides this episode coming out.
yeah, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying, but I would say the five love languages.
Ooh, that's the second time I've heard that.
So I used to ask on our applications, what is your love language? And so many guys were like, I don't know what this is. And I was like, we've
What are you,
got
gay?
we've got some work to do. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's a great piece. I'm going to take note of that and it will go into our recommended reading list. Now,
Great.
before we wrap up, I just want to say, I even wrote this down because I wanted to articulate it properly. That's how important this is.
Uh-oh, I'm scared.
No, but really, it has been a pleasure and I think an inspiration for us as a growing company, and how much we've been around you and seen you operate behind the scenes in person as a business, that to watch you be able to push yourself, kick ass in pursuit of what is your passion in men's health, seeing Silverback grow into what it is today, I think has been amazing. But even more than that is knowing that the gaps between where you and me are, between where Matter and where Silverback is, I know that if I still needed help or if I required your input or your advice, that it would come without question. And I think that speaks to the volumes of the person that you are, regardless of what level you go to. And I just want to make sure that people understand that behind the mohawks and the tan and the talking shit, that you are probably one of the most genuine inspirations that people can have when they look at this, when they look at business, because it's not just about making more money to you. And that's what I think makes it so important for us to connect. And, we've joked about there are, certain people who can't handle long distance relationships or friendships, or, oh, you didn't speak to me 5 minutes ago. Where have you been my entire life? Why did you leave me? But for us, it could be months go between, because I know you're working on some cool shit. I flick your message, I'll send you some updates, and you'll be like, you're talking about me in rooms that I didn't even know that you were even in to be talking about me. And you're saying, hey, this guy's going to talk to you, or I can't wait for this guy to talk to you. And we both know there's some big conversations that are coming up that you were part of that process happening. And I really wanted people to understand that this isn't just me having a guest on. This is like, for us, you're someone that I consider a mentor in a role that you probably don't even consider it mentoring, but you do. So I just want to make sure that was known, and it's appreciated, because we love seeing Silverback grow, and it's continued to grow. And I think it's important that people understand.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
Nice emotions.
I appreciate that. And I do not consider it a mentorship. This is a friendship. And listen, I'm always available for you. And I honestly, I have friends in the industry who have made it way farther than me, and I've seen how it's changed them. And I never want to be that type of person, because I'm motivated by impact, not money. All my business coaches are like, why doesn't money motivate you? I'm like, it doesn't, but I need money to make impact. That's why I need to make it. So, but it's the impact that I can make, which drives the reason to make the business successful. But thank you. I appreciate that.
You are most welcome. And it's funny how that works. People don't realize sometimes that it's not about cash. For us, it's about making a difference.
100%. That's why we got into this industry in the first place. But, because we make videos on social, we must only sell things, I guess. So
now,
I don't know.
Links, where to find you, all of it, upcoming events, upcoming follows, etc., all of it, so that we can put in the links in the show notes.
At the Ali Gilbert, ALI on Instagram. That's really it, other than the Silverback Summit, silverbacksummit.com. But it's where you can find me.
Amazing. Thank you very much for jumping on and giving me an hour and a half. You didn't manage to go too zinned out, so that's always good. We kept it roughly about an hour and 20, so it's inside that crash window for Ali. But yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on again. Episode 2. We'll book episode 3 in 2.5 years' time and see where Silverback is.
That'll be our cadence. Maybe we could do it in person and you could actually get your ass over here.
That's next on the list. I finish uni next year, so that'll be the last time.
Okay. You guys heard it from him today.
No more excuses. Stop being a bitch. Sign up.
I love you, dude.
All right. Thank you so much, Ali. Appreciate it.